Hello and welcome to the New World Review, your source for everything anime and manga. And today it's Hunter x Hunter time again, and this time around we're going to go through all of the Guardian Nen beasts currently being used by the princes involved in the Succession War. Now this video has come about as a result of my recent Succession War recap, where I did go on to explain the concept of Guardian beasts, but elected not to go into them into too much detail, because it would have further bogged down an already incredibly detail heavy video, but a lot of you were interested in each individual beast, which is why we're here today. So as part of the Succession contest, which is intended to be a battle to the death to choose the sole surviving legitimate prince to become the future ruler of the Karkin Empire, each prince made an offering of a drop of blood into an item known as the Seed Urn. This is a Nen construct conjured by the very first king of Karkin, who proceeded to use it as a device to have his children fight in the very first Succession contest. After completing the ceremony, each participant is fed an egg by a fairy-like creature, which they cannot see due to the nature of Nen, and that egg eventually spawns a parasitic type Nen beast. Now, given that most of the princes are not natural Nen users, the actual Nen conjured to craft these constructs is sourced by the Nen left by deceased members of Karkin royalty who wished for their offspring to prosper. However, once in existence, the Nen beast is sustained by the aura of the person it is attached to, which goes on to influence every aspect of the beast, including its shape, its nature, and of course, its power. Also, just like Nen in general, these beasts offer an infinitely versatile range of outcomes to perfectly suit their host. However, unlike most uses of Nen, the princes themselves cannot directly control their beasts due to them being conjured from the Nen of another. In fact, the princes cannot even see their Nen beasts or the beasts of other participants of the war, even if they are proficient Nen users, which implies that one of the conditions to activate this power is this blindness for the duration of the contest, or that there is another specific condition to fulfill before one can see either their own beast or the beasts of others. Quite notably though, this rule does not apply to outside Nen users. Any Nen wielder not involved as a participant in the Succession contest can see each of the beasts perfectly fine, once the beasts have taken on a physical form anyway, of which there is actually one beast that doesn't have a natural physical form, but we'll get to that. And it's also important to note that the current Karkin ruler can also see the beasts, although that may be due to them having fulfilled the required condition. Speaking of, let's begin our exploration of these Guardian beasts with King Nasubi, who still maintains the beast he used in his Succession War, and while its abilities are unknown, it does certainly reflect Nasubi's interest in life, with various formations of female body parts and a general animalistic nature. But moving on to the current war, we have the beast of first Prince Benjamin. Sadly, another beast we don't know a lot about at the moment, but it would appear to be heavily based in the realm of physicality, with a variety of natural weapons at its disposal, as well as absurdly chonky legs. It also contains quite an insectoid form, with beetle wings as well as what would appear to be a mass of small eyes on its, I guess we'll call it a face. But it reflects Benjamin pretty perfectly, as he is an incredibly aggressive individual who embodies the ideals of a soldier, focused on strength and domination. Stepping onwards to second Prince Camilla, her guardian beast is much more abstract in nature, although certainly not the most abstract we'll be examining here today. But its form essentially follows that of a sea anemone, with a bit of flair around its lower portion resembling the skirting of a grand dress. So a bit of style and flair combined with a deep sea creature, representing Camilla's outwardly public nature of elegance versus her private, deeply sadistic and heartless persona. Camilla's beast, as it would seem with all guardian beasts, is also an independent Nen user itself, and its natural affinity is that of a manipulator, which is able to take control of people once certain conditions have been met. The beast will then go on to grant this control to the will of Camilla herself, making it a pretty dangerous being. And I should also say now that Camilla is an exceptional Nen user in her own right, and has developed at least one Hatsu known as the cat who has lived a million lives. And very importantly, this is not to be confused with a guardian beast. Rather, this is a form of post-mortem Nen which activates once Camilla has been killed, absorbing the life force of the murderer and reviving Camilla from death. So as I'm sure you can see, Camilla's Nen beast has the potential to be pretty damn broken in combination with her existing ability, as in theory she could force someone to kill her via the manipulation of the beast, and then have that person automatically die as a result of her own post-mortem Nen. Scary stuff. Moving now to third Prince Zhang, and his beast is probably the one that personally fascinates me the most. It's a mysteriously flat entity and a conjurer that produces a coin from its mouth every day. It has been speculated by Zhang himself that these coins are not meant to be kept for himself, but rather to be given out to trusted subordinates and contain abilities that are activated upon the fulfillment of certain conditions. Zhang also hypothesized that these coins would not be immediately beneficial to his part in the Succession War, thinking that their true power would only come to fruition once they had been spread en masse throughout the kingdom after he had taken the throne, which is a very, very long-term goal, considering that only one coin is produced per day. However, the coins do appear to appreciate in value over time, as a coin with a number 1 on it later upgraded itself to a number 10. And so another thought that was brought up by a bodyguard who was aware of this ability was that the purpose of these coins may be to exchange them for a power of equivalent equivalent value by reinserting them back into the mouth of the Nen beast in question, although said bodyguard deemed it too risky to try that for himself. Onwards to everyone's favorite 4th Prince TSERRIEDNICH, and here we may have another confusing one because TSERRIEDNICH currently has 2 Nen beasts, however only one of these was created by the Seed Urn ceremony, which is the one that looks like a horse with very selectively feminine features. Like most guardian beasts, it appears to be capable of phasing through physical substances, as well as having the ability to detect and neutralize hostile aura sources, but its primary power has to do with TSERRIEDNICH himself, who has rather blatantly stated that the thing he hates most in this world is a lying wench. As such, if an individual, they may or may not have to be a wench, lies to TSERRIEDNICH, his beast will scratch them with its barbed tongue. Then, the next time that person lies, the beast will issue a verbal warning that the 3rd time they lie to TSERRIEDNICH, they will cease to exist as a human. Now, as for what happens if an individual does engage in this 3rd lie, well, we don't know as of right now, but it has been speculated that they will be transformed into some sort of being to serve as a pawn to the prince. While we're here, let's not ignore TSERRIEDNICH's other Nen beast though, which was the result of his specialist affinity. At the moment, it is thought that this beast may be the key to TSERRIEDNICH's parallel future Hatsu, which allows him to briefly invoke precognition whilst in a state of Zetsu. And the reasoning for this connection is that engaging in this ability provides TSERRIEDNICH with a future vision from the perspective of this Nen beast. However, it does get slightly more complicated because in theory, forcing oneself into a state of Zetsu would despawn any Nen constructs, including the beast. And while TSERRIEDNICH's beast gained from the Seed Urn ritual does disappear, and so in theory so should the second one spawn directly from him, the standard rules of Nen are unfortunately more or less thrown out the window due to TSERRIEDNICH's specialist nature. So we're just gonna have to wait for more info on that one. In the meantime, let's get back to some basics with 5th Prince TUBEPPA. Her guardian beast has one of the more basic designs, resembling a spiky toad, which can allegedly synthesize various drugs and chemical compounds within its own body via transmutation. Very fitting as TUBEPPA is heavily invested in science. However, there is a further condition placed upon this beast, as it has been referred to as a coexisting type, and requires a partner to engage in its ability, kind of like a research colleague. TUBEPPA's beast is also one of the more cautious constructs in the Succession War, as it chooses not to appear at all in the presence of 1st Prince Benjamin's soldiers, whereas every other guardian beast we've examined thus far has had no such issue being present for all capable of seeing them to do so. 6th Prince Tyson's beast takes the form of a floating angelic eyeball of love. This beast is an emitter type that seems to spawn small cycloptic creatures with slender bodies, who then attach themselves to whatever individual listens to the teachings of Tyson. At this point, I should say that Tyson is a wild optimist who genuinely believes that love alone can change the world and is opposed to violent actions of any form. To this end, she has become something of a cult influence, and her Nen beast assists that aspect by absorbing aura from those listening to her teachings and bestowing them with a feeling of happiness in exchange. Not only that, but this feeling is made more potent in direct correlation to how thoroughly one has read the Book of Tyson. Yes, the Book of Tyson exists, thus perpetuating the strong religious connection those followers have with Tyson. This isn't all good news though, because all religions have fairly strict doctrines of some kind, and Tyson's is no exception. So as a result, should the one and only taboo of Tyson's teachings be broken, then her Nen beast will deliver harsh punishment to the sinner in question. As for what that taboo is, we currently don't know. Next up, we have 7th Prince Luzerus's beast, and it is a gigantic centipede-like thing, which focuses on conjuration. Quite specifically, it is designed to lay traps by conjuring whatever a particular target desires, and then activating an ability once that person has fallen victim to the quote-unquote trap. A very vague ability to examine here, and not immediately easy to see how it connects to Luzerus himself, because we know such little about him. At face value though, he does seem to be a pretty decent guy, but the fact that his beast has taken on more of a bait and switch idea may give us a glimpse of his true nature. 8th Prince Saleh beast essentially takes on the form of a coughing with disturbingly human lips, and as is natural when considering Prince Saleh, its powers are tied directly to his libido. Essentially, the beast periodically emits smoke from its various mouths, covering a radius of 7 meters on average. The inhalation of this smoke then allows the beast to manipulate the affected persons into thinking more favorably of Saleh, and not only that, after a certain amount of smoke has been inhaled, a small clone of the Nen beast will appear above that person's head and emit smoke at a 2-meter radius, essentially turning them into carriers who could go forth and convert others into thinking of Saleh favorably. The rate of conversion depends entirely on how the person inhaling the smoke feels about Saleh to begin with though. So for example, an already devout follower of the prince would be affected within 8 hours or so, while someone on the complete opposite end of the spectrum with no favorable thoughts of Saleh will eventually succumb, but it will take 70 hours to do so. Also, very notably, we should point out that Saleh takes no responsibility for his life whatsoever and has his mother do everything for him, and that is also reflected in his Nen beast, who as a result has no way of defending itself. 9th, Prince HALKENBURG's beast is the first enhancer type we've encountered here today, taking on the form of a furry one-eyed gargoyle thing. This mighty beast can imprint a pinion onto the back of HALKENBURG's as well as his bodyguard's left palms, and with the exception of the prince, upon receiving the pinion, the targets are knocked out, and upon awakening, they've had their memories of being knocked out erased. And to those who are not loyal to HALKENBURG, the pinion vanishes after 10 minutes. However, for those who are loyal to HALKENBURG, the pinion remains, and the more people acquired in this manner results in a substantial growth in aura output amongst all those branded by it. Due to this increase in power in direct correlation to will and loyalty, it is also thought that HALKENBURG's Nen beast may have been the one to grant him his Hatsu possession arrow, as it developed immediately after HALKENBURG made a strong resolution to win the succession war. 10th Prince Kacho's beast is the first one with an actual name, and it is called Without You. Although despite the fact that it does have a name, it doesn't actually have a natural physical form. So it also happens to be the most abstract beast, not managing to obtain a form until a certain condition was met, which was the death of either Kacho or her twin sister Fugetsu. Upon the death of either of the sisters, Without You will take the form of the deceased and protect the remaining sister. And in the case of the series, Without You assumed the form of Kacho after it was discovered that trying to escape the succession war would result in immediate death. And currently, Without You resides with Fugetsu in Kacho's guise. Speaking of, 11th Prince Fugetsu's beast is also tied directly to her twin sister and takes the form of an inanimate object, being a door. The door is identical to the entrance of a playground in which Kacho and Fugetsu played in as children, and has the power to immediately take Fugetsu to wherever Kacho is. Although once she steps out to find Kacho, only Kacho can open what is known as the return door, which can take the sisters seemingly to any destination they wish. So in this case, it's very handy that Without You exists to continue to assume the form of Kacho after her death, as the use of return door is still possible as a result. 12th Prince MOMOZE's guardian beast is one of the more adorable ones with a dark twist. It is a manipulator type that more or less wanders around and asks various targets if they are free. If a target replies that no, they are not free, then a little replica of the beast will appear on their shoulder and continue to ask if they are free until an affirmative answer is received. But as soon as the individual replies that they are free, this Nen beast will take control of their mind by inserting what can only be described as a small teddy bear spider thing into their ear, and then generally it will force them to slaughter whoever is around them. Something to note is that the teddy bear spiders do not sustain themselves from MOMOZE's aura, but instead the aura of the target in question, meaning that they will vanish if they become unable to access the target's aura through whatever means. This beast also comes with some pretty major restrictions, the first of which being that it can only target Nen users, as those unfamiliar with Nen will be unable to see or hear the beast. And secondly, MOMOZE is only able to take control of a single person at a time, the stress of which will drain her stamina to the point where she needs to sleep immediately afterwards, which also results in dispelling the Nen beast due to not having MOMOZE's aura to feed off, leaving her absurdly vulnerable. Getting to the end now, I promise, and we have 13th Prince MARAYAM's beast, which resembles a Chinese dragon, but its size and general appearance seems to change according to MARAYAM's mood. And while it isn't currently confirmed, it is highly suspected that this Nen beast is the one responsible for erecting a barrier around MARAYAM's room, which allows people to exit the room, but not to enter. In fact, should a person attempt to enter MARAYAM's room, they will instead be transported to an alternate empty room. And to finish things off, we have 14th Prince Wobo, who as of right now is the only prince whose Nen beast has not made an appearance in the series, and therefore I cannot tell you anything about it. But that pretty much does it for this breakdown of the Guardian Nen beast currently being wielded in the Succession War. I hope this, in combination with my other video, has helped or refreshed your investment in the manga and makes it easier to dive back in whenever we come back from hiatus. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, then please do consider donating to the NewWorldReview Patreon, because the support of all of you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if Patreon isn't quite your style, then please do leave this video a like, share, or subscribe, because it also helps support this channel an incredible amount. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, then please do head over to my Discord server, where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with your thoughts on the Guardian Nen beasts. This has been the NewWorldReview, and I'll see you next time.